Hey everybody, it's your boy, and today I just couldn't resist making this particular video because it's such a blatant case of leftist lying that I simply had to make a video on this. Even if it is small, it's nice just to laugh at somebody being caught in a bald-faced lie. So this is the feminist Amy Siskind. No, not Siskind, Siskind. It's not a pun, guys, okay? I don't think she's that woke to try and do such a thing. Wouldn't that be considered bigoted? But anyway, this woman is no stranger to putting herself out there and making her views known to the world and getting involved in a lot of scuffle involving many right-wing activists and just generally non-feminist or non-leftist types. And in particular, she has decided to attack Andy Ngo. Why? Well, let's go to her Twitter and find out why she decided to attack him in the first place. She says, "I want to add my voice to those calling out Andy Ngo for how dangerous he is. After he wrote about me on his blog, this lovely note came in the mail along with a myriad of death and LGBTQ themed rape threats." You had death and rape threats, which is what everybody gets at some point online? So bad, I feel so sorry for you, especially after somebody wrote about you in their blog. Well, did he, guys? I know I already spoiled it at the beginning, but yeah, he didn't write about her. This is Andy Ngo saying it right here. Now, the reasons why Amy would lie about this are myriad. Obviously, Andy Ngo has been cataloguing a lot of what's been going on the extreme left for years now, in particular Antifa, and really exposing what they're like and what they do, how they operate to the world. And he has a massive platform in which to do this, alongside being editor-at-large in the Post-Millennial. When I saw this, and obviously, of course, he calls out other less extreme elements of the left, and is generally just somebody who is very effective at what he does, which is why these people are going after him, which is why they physically attack him, they attack his character. They're trying to find every possible angle in which to destroy him because he's that effective against them. Where it seems now that Siskind, desperate to do something to, I guess, be one of those people that has called out Andy Ngo, or maybe even be the person who ended Andy Ngo by lying. But the thing is, I thought, just in case that this is the one time Andy Ngo actually lies about something, as opposed to her lying about something, I went and had a look. Now, Andy Ngo's website only ever links his articles that he writes on other websites. And as far as I could find, he wrote for the Washington Examiner and Post-Millennial, which he is the editor-at-large for. There is only one article on Post-Millennial about her, and that is about a very interesting story, which we'll get into in a little while later. But it wasn't written by Andy Ngo, it was written by somebody else. This guy. But the thing is, as far as I'm aware, Andy Ngo doesn't have a blog, he has a website. Of course, as I said before, linked to his articles and other multimedia stuff like videos, but is that really a blog, or just, this is Andy Ngo, this is my portfolio? Or is it an actual blog, like going on to Blogspot or anything like that? And not really, no, he's not a blogger. And now I bring you to the Post-Millennial article question. What was it about? Well, you see, Amy Siskind called for the doxing last year of federal agents and their families. Now, why was she calling for the doxing of federal agents and their families? Well, you see, this was during the summer of violence across the United States, the BLM/Antifa riots. She was not happy that law enforcement in the places where they were allowed, that is, were lawfully arresting far leftist activists who are, killing people, robbing people, burning down buildings, being general thugs. She didn't like that. That was wrong. That's oppression. So these people deserve to have their details leaked online and presumably punished. What could she possibly mean by this tweet, which has since been deleted, but we have the text? It would be helpful if we could start to identify these stormtroopers. This monster has a mother, maybe a wife and family. They should be publicly named, and of course, held accountable when this reign of terror is over. Yes, anti-riot activity is now a reign of terror. As if what Antifa and BLM were doing to minority communities and white communities all over America was not some kind of reign of terror. She then called law enforcement mercenaries, and apparently they're fascists, and that they will be held accountable. I can only imagine what she meant by being held accountable and having their names and addresses leaked. She then had the cheek to compare these federal officers to the Gestapo, and that apparently at some point there was going to be a Nuremberg trial, although actually it would be more like Stalin's purges, where those were show trials and the people at the trial were already guilty. It was just to show to the Soviet people and to the people in the Politburo that Stalin's watching you and he will get you if he finds you to be a threat. This is outright incitement, and it's no wonder that she deleted it when she was called out on it and warned that this could potentially lead her to be arrested. Yeah, I guess eventually self-preservation ruled over trying to help the cause, eh, Amy? And why do I mention this? Well, because down below in the tweet, she mentions this. For those asking, I am reporting this kind of stuff to local law enforcement and the FBI. I've had enough. There will be consequences now that we have a new administration in charge. I encourage you all to do the same. Let's put an end to this. So, when law enforcement attack her own side, it's bad, it's wrong, it's akin to the Gestapo, it's a reign of terror. But when she lies about Andy Ngo making a blog post about her, or even if somebody were to actually do something like that, and this somehow leads to apparent harassment, that's wrong, that's evil, and that means they need to be reported to law enforcement and the FBI. The rank hypocrisy of these far leftists, they tell us in one breath to defund the police, get rid of the police even. But then, when they're threatened, or at least pretend to be threatened, the police are suddenly cried out for, the police are needed, the FBI needed, the feds are their best friends. And especially now that Biden's in charge, they are definitely her friends. I still, to this day, after all these years, just cannot get that attitude. Now, what about the flag? Is it real? Is it fake? Did she buy it? Did somebody send it her? Who knows? But my theory is that she bought it. I think she bought this flag to try and call out Andy Ngo, lie about him, and to get him arrested for incitement, basically, or at the very least for harassment, for causing her grief. But of course, in America, you guys have the First Amendment, and unless actual incitement has been written or been said, Andy Ngo can write about anything he wants about her within reason, and if somebody goes out and sends her these stupid flags or rape and death threats, there's not a damn thing she can do to get him removed because that's not on him. He didn't incite them, he didn't call them to do that, he just wrote about her and criticised her in this hypothetical situation. So yeah, Amy, you don't live in certain continental European nations where you could possibly get him arrested for this. And possibly even in Britain this could happen as well. Tough luck, Amy, you failed. But what do I expect from a feminist? What do I expect from a far leftist to lie about death and rape threats, to try and get somebody removed offline, to the extent that she'd even try and report him to the FBI to remove his voice? It doesn't surprise me at all. This is par for the course. The Zoe Quinn manual of being an activist online. Only this is a person who actually can organise protests, because she led 100,000 people back in 2019 protest the Trump administration. So this is a person who, unlike Zoe Quinn, who only has power in a certain subculture of American and Western society, this person has power within an entire political movement. But anyway, that's the end of the video. There's nothing else that needs to be said. So until next time, it's been your boy, and I'll see you all later.